Is
There it
recording.
Okay.
Okay, so next thing up is going to be non-qualified annuities, which is pretty much everything by qualified. So meaning that it's going to be funded with after-tax dollars, meaning that there is no contribution limits. Oftentimes with qualified plans, there is going to be contribution limits. Okay. So non-qualified, no contribution limits, earnings grow, tax deferred, only growth is taxed at withdrawal, meaning this is ideal for people who have already maximized their qualified plans or someone who needs a shorter term investment. Rules and restrictions only from within the annuity company. This might be 5 to 10 years terms, which really varies by carrier and product. Like for example, if you look at NLG, they offer something like a 7-year or 10-year annuity product. And if this is going to be under a non-qualified, you can have something as short as like 7 years. So under the qualified plans, we're going to go over IRAs. As you know, there's traditional IRA. This is kind of like the older IRA vehicle, which everyone should know about. Like we've gone over this like many times. Anyone with an earned income can contribute with no age limit as of 2020. The 2025 limit is $7,000 a year, $8,000 if you're over 50. So that simply means in 1 year, I'm allowed to put in up to $7,000 into a traditional IRA at my age. This would be technically a tax deductible contribution, meaning that as I'm paying taxes at the end of the year, I'm deducting $7,000 of income off of my taxes. RMDs start at 73. Again, as I mentioned, RMDs are required minimum distribution, meaning that you have to start pulling money at a certain age and time. You can't just leave money in your traditional IRA forever. Okay. Investments grow tax deferred, meaning that you're not taxed now because you're making the deductions now, right? But it's going to be taxed later when you withdraw. And again, it's going to be taxed as ordinary income upon withdrawal. There is no income limits for contribution, but deductions do phase out if you're making over a certain amount. What this means simply is that in a Roth, which we'll go over in a second, there is contribution limits. For a traditional, there is none. The only caveat is that if you make too much, there is something called a phase out where you're not going to be able to deduct the amount you're allowed to put in. You can still put in 7,000, but you're not going to get the deduction. A Roth IRA is simply going to be the newer version of IRA. It's like the sexier IRA, right? Income limits apply. If you're single, you cannot make greater than $161,000 a year. If you're married, it can't be more than 240. Same contribution limits as a traditional IRA, meaning that you can only put in up to $7,000 a year if you're single. $8,000 if you're older than 50. And then this is gonna be after-tax contributions, meaning that again, this pre-tax and after-tax, I know it's a little tricky sometimes for some people. You're not making any deductions as you're making the contributions, meaning that if I'm putting $7,000 a year, I can't deduct anything for that if it's under a Roth. Okay. Qualified withdrawals are tax-free though, and no RMDs, meaning that when I do come at the time of retirement and I'm starting to take an income from this, I don't have to pay taxes because it's after-tax dollars. If your MAGI is above the phase-out range, you cannot contribute directly to a Roth IRA. MAGI is simply a modified adjusted gross income. So if you're making above a certain amount, right, which I listed above right here, you cannot contribute to a Roth. This typically means you're making too much of an income or something. And obviously that these tends to be maybe perhaps a small business owner, or maybe they're a high income earner, which in that case, they'll have some sort of alternative vehicles. So one of the examples, which will be a self-employed, which is a SEP IRA, is going to be for self-employed small business owners. This is a little different, okay, for 2025. It's either 25% of your compensation or $70,000, whichever is lesser. I know it's a little tricky. So whether it's 25% of your compensation or 70,000, whichever is a small number is what you're allowed to contribute, okay? Employer contributions only, meaning that only the employer can take advantage of this. You cannot do this for an employee. If you're a W-2, You cannot do this. RMDs do apply like traditional, and this is technically a SEP IRA is gonna be very similar to like how a traditional works. Okay, you're making the deduction up front, but you're paying taxes later on. So the sexy thing about this is that, hey, if as a business owner, taxes is everything, right? You want to make deductions at the end of the year or every quarter. Okay, so if you're contributing to a SEP IRA, this is huge. You're looking for any other deductible expense. This is one of them. Except this expense is setting up for your retirement planning. It's not like you're just paying for ad dollars, or it's not like you're paying for a machinery to make a deduction. This is your own money that's being put away for retirement, and you're allowed to deduct it. 403B plans. This is going to be for public schools, employees, certain nonprofits, nurses, ministers, like pastors and etc. These guys have typically a different type of retirement plan, which is called a 403B. Okay, very similar to how an IRA works, and the rules always vary. Right now, 2025, it's $23,000 a year. Okay, next up, I'm not really gonna go over this part. This is pretty much like a light, like a graph to show you what all the things I just kind of went over. What's tax free, what's tax deferred, and I just literally went over these. The only thing I guess we should go over is a non-qualified annuity. It's after tax dollars, right? So it's not in an IRA. There's no deductions. It's also not in a 401k, which is through your employer. This is going to be typically tax deferred, meaning that you will pay taxes on this later. And then gains are going to be taxed as ordinary income. Okay. As you can see up until very far right corner for all of these, right? It says can roll into a qualified annuity. This simply means if I have already a pre-existing 401k through my employer or a former employer, which is kind of more important, because obviously if they're with a current employer and they're already still contributing, that defeats the purpose of you trying to get that business, because you want their employers to still match their 401k. Oftentimes, if you have a 401k, their employer, matches like 25 or 50%, right? So you don't want to really take that business away, because you'd be doing them you'd be doing them very wrong, right? It defeats the purpose of free money coming into your retirement account. But if they have an old 401k from a previous employer, this is a great way for you to roll this over under IRC 402. Okay, so you're technically allowed to roll over any IRAs, 401ks. If they have any SEP IRAs, you can roll this over into one of your products instead. Let's see here if I can move this. There we go. This is like just basic rules for early withdrawals before the age of 59 and a half. So the default rule for qualified plans, I'm talking about qualified plans only, I'm not talking about non-qualified annuities, okay? This is for qualified annuities. The default rule states that withdrawals made before 59 and a half incurs ordinary income tax, which means if you withdraw before 59 and a half, you're gonna pay the income tax plus a 10% penalty. So that's the whole reason why there is a retirement plan set up for people. The whole purpose is to hold withdrawing until you're 60. Penalty exceptions, there are several exceptions from the 10% penalty through withdrawals that are still taxed as income. These include disability if it's permanent. If it's your first time home purchase, you're allowed to withdraw up to $10,000 for an IRA. That's huge, right? So if someone's saving up, you have a younger client potentially in mind, and they're saving up and they don't have a 401k that they can take advantage of, and they're just saving with their own dollars, you can tell them, hey, you can set up money for an IRA, and if you were saving up for a home, you can actually take advantage of that for maybe a down payment on the house. If you're married, it's going to be double. Okay, so if it's $10,000 for a single IRA and you're married, it's going to be $20,000. Okay. Qualified higher education expenses. This is going to be for IRA only. Medical expenses exceeding 7.5% of AGI and health insurance premiums while unemployed. IRAs only as well. So special circumstances, there are exceptions to the penalty include substantially equal periodic payments, IRS levy, birth, adoption expenses up to $5,000. So if you're having if you have a baby, and I know this for a fact, even if you have health insurance, having a baby is expensive. Okay, so in this case, you're allowed to use up to $5,000 for that purpose. Fixed annuities. Oh, these are different types of annuities that are typically standard in the norm, right? There's gonna be, and you've already done this as you guys were getting licensed, right? You've gone over these things. There's gonna be fixed annuities, which pretty much is gonna be a provide a guaranteed rate of return. It's fixed. It's predictable. There's incoming payments coming throughout the contract period. There's variable annuities, which technically, from my knowledge, I don't know about Suri, but from my knowledge, you guys don't have your series license, so you guys cannot do, right? The variable annuities offer investment options similar to mutual funds, while potential for higher returns, but also greater risk. Payments are varied. Payments vary based on the performance of the underlying investments. Also comes with fees and charges regardless of performance. What that means is, if the market is doing poop, you are still charging them a fee, okay, regardless of the performance. And if in case, I know if Andrew was here, he'd be asking you what a mutual fund is or a mutual company is. You know, I wrote it down for you at the very bottom. A mutual fund is pretty much a pooled investment vehicle where many investors' money is combined and professionally managed by to buy a diversified portfolio of stocks, bonds, and other securities, right? A mutual company, however, is something different. It's a financial institution such as an insurance company, right? We have contract carriers with a lot of mutual companies at the moment that is owned by its policyholders who share its profits through dividends and reduce premiums instead of outside shareholders. The next one up here is going to be index annuities, which is pretty much, in my opinion, going to be your bread and butter if you're going to be pushing annuities. Index annuities combine features of fixed or variable annuities, offering guaranteed minimum return along with a potential higher base returns based on the stock market, such as the S&P. Usually, returns are subject to caps, participation rates, and possible charges. And also, forgot to mention, there should be floors as well. And as I'm sure we all know what floors and caps are, right? Yes. We all know what floors and caps are?
Yep. Yes.
Okay, great. All right, how do annuities work? They typically work in two phases. Accumulation phase, right? You probably done this on your way to get your license. They told you how these annuities work. Accumulation phase is pretty much during the accumulation phase, you pay premiums either in lump sum or over time, right? Your money grows tax deferred, meaning that no taxes on gains until withdrawal. Growth can be varied based on the type, which is fixed, indexed, or variable. I'm not going to go over these again because we just went over them. Payout phase, which is the second phase, all right? Turning your savings into income. The payout phase is also known as annuitization, which you probably also learned as you guys were getting certified and licensed. Allows you to convert your annuity into regular income payments when you're ready. You can choose payment options for life for a set number of years or for a spouse. Payments can also be fixed or variable. This is something I really want to go over right here. There's a key point here. Annuitization is completely optional, guys, okay? Many clients use...
Yes. Sorry, thank you.
You're good. Annuitization is completely optional, guys. Many clients will use an income rider like GLWB or GLIR. Remember these letters, please, to get a lifetime income while keeping control and flexibility over their account, unlike a traditional annuitization. So typically, what you know with an annuity is that there's a building phase, an accumulation phase, right? And then you annuitize. Annuitize is like they're giving you a set stream of income, okay? Nowadays, there's something more modern, okay? I don't know if they necessarily teach that in your classes as you're getting licensed, but what is GLWB? It's pretty much a lifetime income without annuitization. And why does it matter? So a guaranteed GLWB stands for a guaranteed lifetime withdrawal benefit. Sometimes you might see it as GLIR. Okay, for example, like I like NLG a lot with insurance products, but they call it GLIR. Okay, it's simply a rider in many modern annuities. Okay, it allows clients to receive a lifetime income without surrendering control of their account value through a traditional annuitization. Again, this is not the same thing as annuitizing an annuity. This is a lifetime income rider that mimics the effect of annuitization. The key advantages of GLWB or GLIR, I'm gonna just say that both because you're gonna see either or, is that it includes a flexible income, right? You can start, pause, or adjust income payments as needed. Oftentimes there is, like, for example, NLG has a flex driver, okay? I just signed up an annuity for a client, and she's doing like $200 a month, okay? But she can change her payments throughout. Typically with a traditional annuity where it's like fixed, you can't make adjustments like this, okay? There's a lifetime guarantee where the insurance pays out for life even if the account runs out. This is huge, okay? Meaning that even if your money runs out in your account, the insurer has to pay you continuously regardless. There's beneficiary protection, which means remaining principal and benefits go to their heirs. Andrew consistently says all the time, annuities are crap because once you die, like the house keeps your money. Well, with this rider, that's not true. So why does GLWBs matter? It provides a lifetime income while keeping clients' options open, okay? They maintain the flexibility to protect beneficiaries. Full annuitization is rarely recommended unless necessary. These are essential for balancing lifetime income, control, and legacy planning. What did I write here? Your income often cannot be touched until qualified age, regardless of parent structure. Oh, this is important. So if I have a GLWB rider attached to my annuity, regardless if this is a qualified or non-qualified account, right? Whether this is in like a traditional IRA or not, you cannot touch your money if it has this rider until you become within a qualified age, which is 59.5. Okay. Show agent's illustration example. Yes. I made an illustration. Let's see if I can share this tab instead. Do you guys see my screen?
Yep.
Did it switch from the slideshow to like a illustration?
Yep.
Okay, great. So I made a random illustration. This is not any of my client. I just made a random illustration just for illustration purposes here. This is gonna be the Flex Select Income 10. Okay. So the Flex Select Income 10 has something called a no matter what, has a 10-year lock. So this is typically ideal for like maybe someone that's gonna be age 50, I'd say. But for the sake of purposes of just for compound interest, I set the age of 25. Okay. So as you can see, let's just say this person made $120,000 a year. That's 10%, 12,000. Okay, so he's putting 12,000 away in his we'll just call it his in his non-qualified plan. Okay, he's putting $12,000 away. All right. As you can see, the view option is with the most recent 10 years. I set the reports on. Oh no, I'm so sorry, guys. I shouldn't have moved that. Give me 1 second. If that works. Because I tabbed out. There you go. Illustrations, movies.
Just a quick question. Is the GLWB, the only downside is that you can't take it out until you're 59.5 compared to a regular, like, traditional annuity?
Correct. So are you saying is the only downside the fact you can't touch it until 59.5?
Yeah.
Yes, but I'll also say this as well, is that just to play devil's advocate here. Technically, to have a GLIR rider or GLWB, sometimes they will have a fee that's attached to this. So meaning that as you are making your contributions, they sometimes charge a fee. So in this case, I'll show you right now. Fundings and withdrawals. Let me see right here. So in here, I put at these are the strategies you put your okay. So in this case for NLG, they offer S&P point to point. And Sam, I know you might not know point to point. Simply put, take the beginning of your year whenever you started your contract, and then till the end of that 1 year lapse, 1 year phase. Depending on how the S&P moved from that point to that point, is how much you're going to make as an interest. So if the S&P 500 moved 5% within that year time frame, great, you just got 5% into your account. However, the point-to-point specifically tends to have floors and caps. So floor
see.
simply means 0 to 1%, meaning that you can never lose your principal of what you put in, right? That's the theory. That's the sales tactic of these carriers, right? You can't lose your money, right? However, there is caps as well, meaning that oftentimes if you go for the point-to-point strategy, they put a cap on, meaning that if you have, if the S&P, for example, in this case, surpassed 9% and went 12%, you're only getting the 9. So this is not, I guess to answer your question again, the second least sexy thing is that this is not going to be the sexiest of returns, but these will be guaranteed returns. So if people are looking to put their money away, and perhaps they have their own, sexy Webull or Robinhood account, or they have their own financial fiduciary advisor who's handling their money, right? This is a great way just to hedge and put something else on the side, right? So in this case right here, I put 100% for this allocation for the S&P. As you can see for the quick view, this person's putting $12,000 away. That's great. You see the GLI charge here. The GLI charge, I think, is a percentage of what your current value of your accumulation value is, or cash value is. So the good thing that you guys should know right off the bat is that, hey, look, this guy's putting away money for what? 30 years, okay? 30 years along the time frame, as you can see the percentage. You guys can see the percentage of what the actual account growth is, right? There's like 1.9%, 7%, 5.6%, 3.91%. You guys see all this? Hello?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Just making sure. So that shows you into credit amount of what that turns out into, right? So obviously, this crediting isn't from what you're putting in, it's from what your account value is, right? That would make no sense if it's going to be from what you put in. So your account value is going to slowly creep up and the compound interest kicks in. In the meanwhile, unlike a life insurance product, where it's like a permanent life insurance product, like a permanent life insurance like an IUL or a whole, or even a temporary like a term, the death benefit's going to be simply what you put in, meaning that oftentimes when you start an annuity, you can have a beneficiary that in case of the rare chances that you pass away while you're funding, the death benefit will be exactly what you have. Does that make sense? So there is like GLIR charge, as you can see, but the benefit is this, okay? After 30 years, right? How much do I have in my account? I have roughly about $835,720. Great. I see. Oh, and then for this purposes, for this final like 5 years of retirement or whatnot, I just had him not contributing. Maybe he's getting older, he doesn't work as much, whatever. He's gonna start withdrawing at age 60. Okay. With the GLIR, this is what happens. Okay. In my account before retirement, what happens? He's at $1 million. Okay. He's at $1 million. But from here, he's using the GLIR rider. Okay. If you look at the funding and withdrawal, if you look at the client information and funding withdrawals, I set that up in advance right there. GLIR annual, start from age 35, guaranteed withdrawal payments. Okay. Till maturity. That's how it has to be. You cannot have it for a shorter term. It has to be till maturity, meaning till the day you die. So what happens is now you have a guaranteed income coming in for the rest of your life. Okay. Even as you see, your funds are running out, right? Your funds are running out in your cash value. Okay. Your funds are running out in your cash value, but what happens after? You still get a guaranteed lifetime income. This is the selling point of an annuity with the GLIR. Okay. This is the selling point. If we were to actually calculate this all up and add $12,000 times 30, whatever, do it. It's obviously gonna surpass, or even if you want to do this even better, take $1 million right now. Forget the contributions, just take $1 million right now. All right? Take $101,000, okay, and see how long that's lasting you for. You're age 60. It's going till you die, forever. Yes, obviously the whole point of this concept is that you live a long, healthy life, right? Now, what happens if I die prematurely? Unlike a typical annuitization, right, where there's gonna be rules and restrictions and maybe a house keeps the money, this is wrong. Unlike that, if you die prematurely, there still is a death benefit that will go to your beneficiaries. However, if your money has completely run out in your cash balance, it's gonna just keep paying you annually or monthly, whatever you set it up as. This is the point of GLIR. This is the point of the rider that I'm speaking of. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So now that I showed you the example,
Hey,
yes,
Brian,
sir, Mr. Suri.
can you just go back, just for the sake of clarity? Can
Yes.
you share the screen? No, not the screen.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. So what if this person dies at 78?
So let's say the person dies at 78, right here. By this time, the money has run out, so there will be no death benefit. Does that make sense? Because you have to think about this. If he had $1 million at this time frame, right? He's already flushed out by 78. He already flushed out what his income should have been from that annuity. So take $1 million and till 70, right? You said 70. What age? 78. Okay, 70 or 78.
78.
78. Okay, by 78. So by that time frame, look at all the payments that's happened, right? As you can see, this is his annual income, right? However, on the side, this is his death benefit, okay? His death benefit obviously is gonna start decreasing because money has been pulled, right? There's no more cash value left. Actually, by 73, he would have actually already taken out all his money. But because of the rider, he's still getting guaranteed forms of income. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So again, this is not like for everyone and anyone, and this is not gonna be something sexy to everyone and anyone, but to someone who there is a market for people that's gonna want this product, right?
Yeah, agree.
All right, great.
Thanks.
Any other questions?
If the death benefit goes to zero, do the heirs still get money, or is it just zero?
It's absolutely zero by then. It's absolutely
Okay.
zero by then. So like, but again, you have to realize it's not like it just went to zero for no reason. It's because he's been taking income every year. So
Right.
like, as you can see right here at the peak of him before he starts taking out money, not annuitizing, the peak of when he before he takes his money, he's at $1 million. At $1 million, if he dies, yeah, he'll get a death benefit, right? He'll get a death benefit for his family. This is what he accumulated over his hard working years. Even at year, let's just say year 40, he's only taken out maybe like $500,000, right? There's still gonna be over $500,000 left over that will go to his beneficiaries. But once every year he's taking out 101 grand, yeah, his death benefits gonna slowly decrease, right? It's slowly being pulled out. And eventually, regardless of how much your sexy accumulation is, if you keep taking out an income, yeah, you're gonna start bleeding out your cash flow. So yeah, to answer your question, hopefully that did.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, so this is simply showing available lifetime income. This is the death benefit. This is the cash value. This is the accumulation value. I encourage you guys, whoever has NLG contracts, to try playing around with the Flex Select Income 10. This is specifically for the GLIR, okay? Just for the sake of this presentation, I just made this like 20 minutes ago. But where are we at? Okay, here we go. So, sorry. So we're going back to the slide, yeah. Okay, so there's different kinds of deposits as well for annuities, right? You guys also probably know this. There's either a single premium deferred annuity or a flexible premium deferred annuity, SPDA or FPDA. A single premium is pretty much funded with a lump sum, right? It's the SPDA is ideal for pre-retirees, okay? This is going to be typically more attractive for older people who are just about to retire, right? Rolling over large savings for safety and guaranteed growth. This would be an excellent choice for people who I just showed for that illustration right now, right? They have a decent amount of chunk of money already saved up. They want their money to last, right? But they still have about 10 years for their working years. They can go and roll this over, right? Into a SPDA guaranteed income later. So technically the illustration I showed you was for flexible. However, there is also going to be products that's going to be single lump sum as well. Typically, no additional contributions are required after the initial investment. There's sometimes with certain carriers what allows you to add some additional within the first year, I believe. But don't quote me on that. I think that also varies by carrier. There is a minimum required, obviously, right? Typically, they're going to be dealing with much larger dollar sums because it's going to be a lump sum, right? They're not expecting more money from you. You're just doing a single lump sum deposit. This also varies by carrier. I wrote 10,000 to 50,000, for example. And I think like the cheapest amount that a single lump sum offers at Fidelity, for example, F&G is like $10,000 for one of their products. But some of their other products is like $50,000, for example. And obviously, there will be a lock period where your funds cannot be touched unless you pay a penalty. Typically, that's like 5 to 10 years. The good thing about this is that oftentimes a lot of these carriers also offer like a 10% withdrawal every year, meaning that even though your money is locked, they'll allow you to touch like 10% of your cash value if needed, if you want, without a penalty, which is kind of huge. That is a separate restriction, though, in addition to the rules of qualified plans. So meaning, if this is a non-qualified plan, great. But if this is also under a qualified plan, don't forget, if I'm 50, I can sure withdraw 10%. So that's great and all, but I'm still gonna have to pay the 10% penalty through the qualified plan, right? Because through qualified plans, you pay a 10% penalty for withdrawing before 59.5. Does that make sense? Great. FPDAs, which is flexible premium deferred annuities, is pretty much multiple contributions over time. Okay, it's making it a little bit more suitable for younger clients building retirement savings. Gradually, it offers the flexibility to increase contributions as income grows, which is great. Like I said, a couple like last week, I had an annuity case, and she's wants to starting with $200 a month, but she wants to increase it, later over time. Fantastic. You have the flexibility to do so in a PDA. Okay. This is good for disciplined savers, right? It's mandatory forcing you to save in ways you think about it. It's not like you go on your Robinhood or Webull account, you deposit $200. Okay, it's gonna just be pulled monthly. It's gonna have FPDA offers tax-deferred growth, making it a reliable option for retirement savings, unless it's a Roth. Again, Roth, it will be after-tax dollars, tax-free, and then traditional IRA will be tax-deferred. Okay, we'll have caps and floors, which I went already before, meaning it's a more conservative way of investing. If they are not investment savvy or has a low risk tolerance, this will be the potential product for them. Okay, so if these guys are like, oh, I'm pretty good with my 401k, or I like where my money is being invested, I like to do my own research, this typically is not the product for them. Okay. Case studies, I just made a random case study just to give you some examples. This is going to be for a single premium deferred annuity, SPDA, a pre-retiree rollover. So this client name is Maria. I asked ChatGPT to make me a random image. There she is. She's recently retired from a corporate job. She has $700,000 in her 401k balance. Okay. Risk averse. She wants guaranteed growth and protection from market downturns. Scenario is Maria is concerned about the market volatility as she approaches retirement. She rolls over half of her 401k into a single premium deferred annuity, SPDA. So notice how I said she rolled over half, right? She has $700,000 in her 401k balance. She does not have to roll over the entirety, right? She can just roll over partial if she would like. This way, if you think about it, she keeps partial of her money still into the market, right? Incurring some risk, incurring some volatility, but potentially higher gains, while she locks the other half into something else, into a much safer vehicle. This is kind of typically something you can position yourself as an agent to a client, where if maybe perhaps they don't feel comfortable rolling over the entirety of their retirement savings, they can potentially give you a quarter, a third, a half, etc. And this is a sales concept you can just tell them as well, right? Hey, leave half of your 401k or your old 401k just be, right? Well, you're about 10 years away from retirement. Why not give me half of it and I'll roll into something a lot safer? It's gonna be a lot sexier than fixed, but it's not gonna be as sexy as what you currently probably have, right? Maria is concerned about market volatility. She approaches retirement. She rolls over half of her 401k into a single premium deferred annuity, SPDA, to lock in a fixed or index rate for 5 to 10 years, unless it's an immediate annuity. Avoid market loss, typically a 0 to 1% floor, which we all know what this does. Access guaranteed lifetime income options at retirement, which we also just went over. Okay. Allows her to start taking income from her other existing 401ks while this continues to build more growth and stability. Agent discussing points. Explain rollover process and tax implications. Highlight no ongoing contributions needed. So in this existing 401k, if she was to roll over from one qualified vehicle to another, would this trigger any tax implications? Yes or no? Yes or no?
Sorry, what was the question? Sorry.
So if I was to roll over a 401k into a qualified annuity, do I have to pay taxes on that?
No.
That's correct. So simply put, you're just rolling over a 401k into another vehicle, which is a qualified annuity. It will not trigger any taxes. So meaning that sometimes if you take a 401k money and put it in your bank account, that will trigger taxes, right? You're paying taxes and they just took an income. However, if you're rolling this into an annuity, you're not going to trigger any taxes, okay? You can roll over full or even partial of your existing accounts. In this case, she's using only half of her funds to live off while she keeps the other half away for a market loss. Internal Revenue Code 402C allows for tax-free direct rollovers from 401k to an IRA, including an IRA annuity. This is something you should know for potential clients meetings. So if you talk to them, if they have 401ks or whatever, you can mention this IRC code, letting them know, hey, I don't need to pull your money out. I'm just simply rolling it over into another vehicle, keeping it tax-free. This is a light screenshot that I did. I think, yeah, I already did this. This is a line screenshot that I did. So in this illustration, I said she had $700,000 in her balance, right? So she's rolling over half, which is $350,000. That's what I did. So she's 62. She rolled over half of her 401k, right?
Mm-hmm.
Certain annuity products, in this case, I want to call it the Growth Driver 10. I think this is called the Growth Driver 10. They give you a premium bonus. So for immediate lump sum, for her putting in $350,000, they match 10% immediately and put that into her account. That's amazing. She just made $35,000 for doing nothing. So as you can see, she put a lump sum deposit in. It shows you what the growth rate is. I don't know what strategy I put this as, but it's obviously there's a floor and there's a 7.5. There's a credit interest amount, accumulation value, cash value, and then death benefit, okay? So simply put, in this case and scenario, I put it where she has $35,000 in, $350,000 in. She's not touching it for 10 years, right? Technically over 10 years. For her age, her RMD should be 75. So she's starting to take out an income before 75, which is good. As you can see from here, she's holding off and probably, taking income from her main 401k for the first 10 years. Not great. She has $638,000 while she left that alone. So her money nearly doubled in that time frame. And now she's taking $45,000 a year from this as part of her retirement plan. Is $45,000 enough? Absolutely not. But I'm sure she has Social Security and her other 401k and maybe perhaps her other retirement savings that she has. In the meantime, she's withdrawing. This is not a GLIR rider, by the way. I just put it down as $45,000 a year withdrawal. So as you can see, I designed it this way. So even though it's going to be 45,000 being pulled, this is not going to be a GLIR rider. There is no fees being pulled off for this. This annuity is going to be completely fee. So she will have a death benefit while she's taking an income and she passes away. Yes, the death benefit will be transferred over for whatever is remaining balance. She could skip a year. She could take 2 years in a row. She could take $100,000 the first year. It does not matter. This is a free form of withdrawal. This is not a GLIR. Okay. This is another case study going over a SEP IRA annuity for a small business owner. So this person's name is Linda. She's 38, owns a small marketing firm. She wants to maximize retirement savings and reduce taxable income. She's interested in providing benefits for herself. Since she's putting in a considerable amount of income, she wants something very stable, conservative, which makes sense in my case scenario for this because she's putting up what? She contributes up to 25% of her compensation. She makes roughly $200,000 a year. She's putting $30,000 a year, which is about 15% of her income. Great. So $30,000 a year is a lot of money for some people, especially to put away. But as a business owner, she wants the deduction, right? So she's allowed to not deduct $30,000 off of her income, meaning that she never made $30,000 because she put it away in a qualified plan. Which I just said, employer contributions are tax deductible. Agent discussion points. Explain SEP IRA eligibility and contribution limits. Why would this be such an attractive plan for business owners? SEP IRA is going to be typically for 1099s, anyone that owns an LLC, owns a corporation. Keep in mind, she's not only putting this into a FPDA annuity, this is also under a qualified plan. So that's kind of important because not only this isn't an annuity, which has its own rules, it's also under a qualified plan, right? Which has its own separate rules that's through the IRC. Meaning that she will have to decide how long she is comfortable with having her money illiquid. Meaning that money she cannot touch. Good opportunity to bring up LIRP concept as an alternative or supplemental. I simply wrote this because oftentimes when I present annuities as a product, I always introduce life insurance as well. The only reason why is life insurance is a little different. You can touch funds whenever you need it to have in cases of withdrawals or loans, which you guys already know, and we don't have to go over that today. So we're sticking on annuities. In this case and scenario, here's another presentation of the illustration. She's 38. She's putting away $30,000. Looks like for this product, I think it's called a Zenith Growth Driver. It looks like she's getting a premium bonus, meaning that she gets for the first 8 years of contribution, she gets a little bonus of what she puts in. I don't know specifically. If you guys are curious, I'll look into it and I'll let you guys know. I think this was also based on the past 10 years of performance of the S&P, so that's why the interest rates are kind of sporadically random. As you can see, though, there is never, ever a downfall. There's never a negative point. I'm sorry?
There's like a 1%.
Where is the 1%?
The first one is at age 55, I think.
55, 1.78. What about it?
It's pretty low, no?
Yeah, so this, I'll explain again. So, Antonio, this probably is in an allocation, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is not a fixed annuity. An allocation is going to be depending on the strategy you pick. So in this case and scenario, I picked the S&P 500. So there is a cap and floor with that product, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's never going to price surpass like 9% or something. Let's see I'm trying to look for the highest percentage here. I think the cap would probably be 8% because I don't see anything higher than 8% for this product. Again, you can pick different products that have different caps and floors, but for this case and scenario, it's going to be 8% cap, and then looks like at least a 1% floor. Not even a 0% floor. It's going to be at least a 1% floor because I don't see a single one that says 0. So in this case and scenario, you have a guaranteed 1% floor and a cap of 8%, right? This person is putting away $30,000 a year for her SEP IRA. So what does that tell me? Every year she can deduct $30,000 off of her income. In the meantime, she has accumulation phase going on. $30,000 is a lot of money put away. I wouldn't recommend her putting that away into all that into a volatile market. That's why a SEP IRA under annuity might be a great idea. As you can see, by the time of retirement, where she still funds until 68, from there she has nearly what? $2 million saved up. And this is all based off of obviously hypothetical returns of the S&P. This was, I believe, based on the last 10 years. So this is just simply showing you how the last 10 years performed with the cap, okay? There has been sexier years in this, don't worry, or sexier returns in this, but with the cap. But there's also been downfalls as well, right? Let's see here. Agents role, this is the last slide. So I won't really go into this. All I really want to say was always act in the client's best interests, educate, don't just sell. know your products and services. You cannot sell nor educate on products if you do not know what they are and how they work. That's literally all I want to say today. Okay? There's no need for you to try to sell anything if you don't know how it works. So please learn these products. I have spent hours and hours on my own self-research on all the carriers that I have and what products they offer, how the allocations work, what floors and caps are, what riders they have, what riders they don't have. You can even call the carrier's customer service phone number that's directly for agents for you to ask any product knowledge you need. I have called that number dozens of times just to fiddle with their brains. All right. So if you possibly are going to be seeing a client, what I would recommend is build a client report for what they potentially are. What's their age? What's their income? What kind of product do you think they could use? Preset illustrations for that in advance. Don't show up to a meeting empty-handed and not show them anything. Maybe if it's the first initial meeting, sure, fine, whatever. Don't pull out a computer screen, whatever. I get it. But if you're going to meet this person, or if they're coming into an appointment at the office, or maybe I'll throw a Zoom meeting, have something ready to show, okay? Because, and they're going to ask questions, right? They're going to ask questions. So if you're going to tell them, go, I'm not sure, that you're going to look unprepared, you're going to look unprofessional, and no one's going to want to do business with you. So please make sure you guys know these products. Access needs, risk tolerance, retirement goals, compare and contrast carrier products. This is also kind of important actually, because different carriers will have different products, right? Different products will have different rules, different restrictions, and different interest rates. So some annuity products from some carriers actually might have higher, sexier returns as far as floors and caps, but they might have higher minimum deposit for SPDA. Or we'll turn it around to the agent's perspective. Some of those carriers, the pay might be absolute garbage, but they might offer better returns for the client. This is something you're gonna have to kind of fiddle around with and figure out what your identity is and what you want to do for your what you want to do and articulate it for your client. I know for a fact that some of these new contracts that Andrew's getting for us right now, these annuity rates are not bad. And also, I'm talking about the rates for you as agents. Your residuals are not bad. A lot better than NLG. Mandatory annuities, sustainably continuing education. This is a certificate required for you to sell annuities. So I know you guys already have your life insurance license and whatnot. And this is another certificate you guys need to have if you want to sell annuity products. I'm sure most of you guys already have them. If not, let me know. I will gladly send you a link to how to get it. It's cheap. You take a course, you pass the course, you get certified. You need to have license obviously before doing this, but hey, just do it. This is something that, annuity is something you should have on the table always. Like a single lump sum annuity for commission is absolutely insane. It's like for rolling over someone that already has a 401k or an IRA, and you just help them roll it over to something safer. Your commission on that is just, it's literally free money right there, guys. That's pretty much it. I think that's it. Yeah. Any questions?
So, but could you send me the recording of this too?
Yes, yeah. I think from how I know this is about to expire, but because this Google is only an hour. But yeah, I'll be sure to send you guys. Thanks for making the time. If you guys have any questions, shoot me a text separately. Good to see you guys.
Yeah, for sure. You guys have a good night.
Thanks, Jim.
Guys, thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
guys.
Bye.
Nice seeing you guys. Have a good night.